welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Love, and sitting next to me, boy, I tell you, none other than the General Attorney Greg Jackson.
Once again, it's on, but look, hey, without getting into too much detail, because we got a little bit of unpacking to do on the meeting of the minds. But how was your weekend this past weekend?
Weekend was great, and the meeting of the minds made it even great.
Listen, I got to tell you something about after you left. I got to tell you a story.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
But you know what, man? I got to tell you, boy, the weekend was excellent, Greg. I got a chance to go into chill mode a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. What about your weekend, man?
My weekend was good, man. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I did too, man. I started getting back into my short videos.
Okay.
And so I'm starting this series on my Instagram, on my on both my one of my Instagram pages, my LinkedIn page, and I may have it on my Facebook page. But it's called The Moment with Greg. And basically, what I try to do is in less than 90 seconds, is answer questions about things that other attorneys or clients ask me about the legal profession or cases and things like that. So the first question I answered this week was, I had a client say, why don't I have $1 million case? And I went through the elements and the factors of how you get to $1 million case, and why a lot of times people who think they have $1 million cases, even if they are injured severely, don't have $1 million cases. So I'm going to be putting that out initially, starting out once a week. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, I'm going to chop it up, and it's going to become a part of Let's Talk Nation as a compilation of moments with Greg, so that we can build up some
added value.
Facebook numbers.
Added value. But you know what, Greg, go into from an I guess a law firm perspective, looking at risk management to the firm.
I mean, really and truly, if someone, when I talk to people about $1 million case, this is the first thing I tell them. If somebody calls, you don't want $1 million case. You don't want it, because that means that you had something significant happen to you. You've had multiple surgeries or injections, some type of fracture, or something where you have been impaired for a good period of time. And I have several $1 million cases under my belt, and I can say that I've recovered probably close to $50 million in the last couple of years or so. So I'm telling y'all this from experience, right? I appreciate that, brother Armando. But what I tell them is that it depends on the type of accident that it is. If it's a motor vehicle accident, the injuries that you sustain in that accident, it depends on the treatment that you receive, because some people are involved in accidents, they get hurt, but they don't treat.
Yeah.
The first thing that defense attorneys look at, I was a defense attorney for 15 years, is what are your medical bills? And if your medical bills are low, that's an indication that the injuries aren't that bad, or at least that's what I'm going to argue to a jury. The next thing I look at is, do you need any future care treatment?
Yeah.
What is the possibility of you having to go back to a doctor again in the future, and the type of services that you're going to need? But the most important thing, brother Love, even if you have all of that, the most important thing is how much coverage the other party has.
Oh, okay, I got
Because if the other party only has $10,000 in coverage and no assets, guess what the verdict, even if the verdict is $1 million, guess what your recovery is going to be? $10,000. If they have $50,000 and you have $1 million in injuries, and the jury comes back with $1 million, it's going to be $50,000.
You know, I'm thinking about something you just said. You don't want $1 million case because you don't want the severity of what happened to you. I mean, because I'm sitting up here saying, I don't want to lose my hand, my arm, my leg, because to me, you thought it's gonna be worth more than me, but I don't want to lose that.
Listen, the $1 million cases that I have had involves multiple surgeries. Some actually involve fractured bones that have resulted in deformities that a person is never going to come back from. Some of the $1 million cases I've had on the other side involve death. And so when I say that, I don't want a $1 million case personally and have to deal with that, I don't want a $1 million case. Now, if someone has an issue and a problem and they need someone that can handle $1 million case, it's a lot of great attorneys out there, but I'm only talking about one tonight. Talking about me. So you know what I'm saying? If there's something's going on, I mean, I know $1 million cases look like as a defense attorney and as a plaintiff.
Hey, so in those clips that you'll be creating, are you going to have any that's going to talk about to clients how much they should value, if you would, the advice from their attorney? Because the only reason why I'm saying that, Greg, is I remember a couple of cases elsewhere where clients were saying to their attorneys after advice from their attorney that, hey, look, I would recommend that you settle, and they wanted to roll the dice.
So, this is what I say. There's no layperson who's not an attorney that has been in the courtroom more than an attorney that tries cases. Mm-hmm. None. And what that means is that as trial lawyers, we see juries all the time. Well, we should see them all the time. I see them quite a bit. We see how insurance companies resolve cases and mediations all the time. Mm-hmm. And so when we talk to clients about, hey, listen, this is the potential value in the case, because the outlier in jury trials is we don't know who those individuals are going to be. Mm-hmm. But when we're sitting there and we're saying, listen, there's a risk associated with going to trial, there's really truly a risk. And it's for both sides. And it's a matter of who's going to take the bigger risk. Now, I will say that plaintiffs, we have a bigger risk because we have to build the case. Mm-hmm. We have to build. I make it akin to if I was building a sandcastle, I got to make sure that everything is in place. It's going to be structurally sound, and that's how we as plaintiffs attorneys have to set up cases. As a defense attorney, I was the bully on the beach, because all I have to do is come and just kick it over. I don't have to do it. It's like a bull in a china shop. Just pour water on there and all this other stuff. It don't matter how I tear it up. I just want to tear. So because all they have to do is put a little bit of doubt. Mm-hmm. In a case, and if they put a little bit of doubt in the case, guess what? We lose. A jury trial for plaintiffs is like an election in Iran when Saddam Hussein was in power. Mm-hmm. You got to win by 100%, mm-hmm. and he will win by 96%. So you have to be better than Saddam Hussein, because every single juror on that panel has to rule in your favor.
Great. Isn't there something to be said? And I don't remember what that old saying is about. A person representing themselves, or a doctor who wants to operate on themselves. Represent the food.
Yeah. And that's true for a couple of reasons, because, if you represent yourself in a case, you're too close to it. Mm-hmm. If you're representing a family member, you're too close to it. I say that a lot of times. So, it's good to be that moral support for, a family member or something like that. But a lot of times you need to take a step back and let somebody come in that can be, less emotionally involved in the outcome of the case, because that's where you're going to be. So,
well, I'm going to take some wisdom, because when I see or when I've seen attorneys that have found themselves in a situation, I just often notice those attorneys have attorneys representing them.
Listen, because we ain't no fool. We ain't no fool.
Well, man. So, yeah. Well, Greg, speaking of this is not even a segue, man. Them doggone Gators.
Listen, I am not a fan of the Florida Gators. Me, Florida State, you know what I'm saying? The Rattlers, that's me all day. But I got to give credit where credit is due. And University of Florida right now is playing some heck of some basketball.
Oh, they fought, man. Did you see that game?
Listen, I've made it a point, and I know my wife don't believe me, because I'm going out to watch this game, because I like the Gators. So yeah. I'm interested in going out and watching them play and seeing these boys and what they can do. Now, the last time I did this and was when they played, I want to say in 2007, with my buddy Steve Myers. He's another mm-hmm. local attorney, and he was a Gator fan. He was a Seminole fan, and I lost a bet to him. So I had to go with him to Smoky Bones and watch the Gators play in the final, and they won that year too.
Wow.
Yeah.
But great, man. I was watching that Auburn game, man, and they were trailing most of the game. But, man, in the fourth quarter, man.
Came alive.
Came alive, but great. The last 3 minutes of that game.
Listen, so that game I didn't get a chance to watch. I watched the highlights of that game.
Yeah.
But, it was just as exciting as what was the game just before that one? Texas Tech. It was just mm-hmm. as exciting as that game. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you, from the ball that the University of Houston is playing, tonight is going to be a heck of a ball game with University of Florida and University of Houston. Mm-hmm. Now, this is what I'm gonna say. Being a native Floridian, I can't go against a Florida team, even if it is the University of Florida. I know that Florida Gators and University of Miami fans, they don't have it in them to be this big of a person and say, listen, as long as the team of Florida wins, I'm okay. University of Miami and University of Florida fans, they can't do it. Florida State, I might get some heckling a little bit, but they understand me a little bit better to say, I just want the state of Florida to have some.
You know who I was just having this conversation with? Miss Wynn.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I was just having this conversation with her to say, hey, at the end of the day, root for Florida. Root for the Florida team.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't no big Gator fan. Yeah. I'm a UM guy.
Yeah.
But I was like, come on, Miss Wynn. We got to bring it back home.
I don't disagree with that. And you know, if he's listening, I know my dad is happy to hear that because he's a huge Gator fan. But if he's listening, you know, the mayor of Apopka would probably be doing backflips right now to hear me say that I'm actually rooting for a Florida team to win tonight.
And you know he is focused. He focused. You're talking about none other than Mayor Brian Nelson.
Right.
He is focused.
Right. No, absolutely. But listen, so, you know, good luck to, good luck to both teams. Let me just say that because they played some tremendous ball this year and throughout this tournament. But hopefully, you know, we get a team from Florida that can bring it back to the state. And so that way we can have someone to call in and let them know that they're tuned in to two of the most influential voices in Central Florida on our Monday night podcast, Brother Love and Greg Jackson, the dynamic duo guaranteed to raise your IQs 20 to 25 points. And on some nights, Brother Love, we go 30 to 35. If you want to be a part of the night show, all you got to do is hit 407-921-6195 or get your little Facebook, Twitter fingers going, and you can join us right here online to talk to two of the most influential voices in Central Florida, Brother Love and Greg Jackson, dynamic duo. Brother Love, let's get it on.
Hey, Greg, before we leave, man, that one note, man, I got to tell you, I saw something in UF that the only other person, and I'm saying I saw it in the team, but you and I have witnessed it in a person who has since retired from the NBA, but this person used to wheel their team to a victory, and I'm talking about none other than Michael Jordan.
This is two people like that.
Who was the other one?
It's Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't disagree.
I can't, yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm a Kobe Bryant fan as well, but Michael Jordan used to wheel his team to a victory, and those Gators, that game,
I mean, listen, to me, aside from the bad boy persona, this Gator team is playing like the Pistons. Because I mean, you know, you have some players on there, but you didn't have like superstar players. I mean, aside from the 7'9" kid, which you know he's doing his thing, but this team is just the team of ballers.
They're tough, yeah.
It's a team of ballers, and any one of you can put on the court, and they're going to produce for their team.
Well, man, okay, enough with basketball. Hey, Greg, man, the Trump tariffs, man. What's any updates?
Listen, there's no updates. We got to bring people up to speed fully if they hadn't already gotten there, because last week when we were on the show, we were talking about the fact that President Trump was talking about implementing tariffs, and he was going to do it on the 2nd of April. And the reason being is because he didn't want to do it on the 1st of April because he didn't want people to think it was a joke.
Yeah.
And so he came on board. It's funny because my aunt from Georgia, look at this. I see First Lady Nelson. I know he's doing backflips. He's trying. And Brother Pinto, what's going on, man? Good to see you as always. But Trump indeed came through, and on the 2nd, and as I was saying, my aunt from Georgia even sent me a text and said he's getting ready to go on. So I was like, I better go watch this. And what Trump did was he announced that there were going to be a number of reciprocal tariffs that were issued for a number of different countries, from India to Ireland to China, to all of these different countries. And the following day, and he did it after 4:30, and I think that was also calculated because he didn't want to do it in the market drop that same day, because the minute he mentioned it, the market would have probably dropped right there. But the next day, immediately, the market started to drop, and people started to panic. And I understand people started to panic. I have a good bit of money in stocks, but one of the things that Rockefeller said, John D. Rockefeller said, and Trump kind of intimated this, and people, I think they took it the wrong way. But one of the things that John D. Rockefeller said is that the time to invest is when there's blood in the streets.
Yeah.
Now, what we have to understand is that this is going to be a trying time. Now, do I necessarily agree with the tariffs? No, not really, but I understand what Trump is trying to do at this juncture. And what he's trying to do, and my understanding is that a lot of these countries have imposed tariffs on the U.S., and we haven't imposed tariffs on them. and they're making good money off of the backs of American dollars. So now, put tariffs on them. They're going to put tariffs on us. But guess what's starting to happen?
What's that?
Now, stocks are plummeting. Let's get this right. Let's get this straight now. But today I heard that they're starting to bump up because Trump has announced that he is negotiating with certain countries who don't like the tariffs. And that is understandable because a lot of these countries are hurting from these tariffs. It's not just the U.S. and not just the U.S. economy, but a lot of people are hurting from these tariffs. Now, one story that I heard in particular is about Jaguar and Range Rover. And the company that produces their cars, I want to say in Ireland, they are in fear that they're going to have to start laying people off. But also, one of the largest purchasers in the market for those vehicles is the U.S. And there are a lot of places and a lot of countries that are starting to realize that, hey, if we put too much in tariffs on the U.S., we're going to lose a lot in our economy. So everybody right now has something to lose.
Well, Greg, and you know what? I like the way you framed it up, but I think we need to go in reverse just a little bit. Tell people, man, what tariffs are.
I mean, really and truly, tariffs are taxes on goods that come into our country. And the opposite way is that it's taxes on goods that leave our country going into other areas. And what it does is, if we are doing reciprocal trade with the country and their tariffs are higher than ours, then they benefit more from our products going to them than their products come to us. That is the bare bones. Okay. You know, without putting too much on it, that's just the barest essential of the understanding what a tariff is. It's a tax on goods that are leaving our country, or taxing the countries that are sending goods into our country.
So here's a question that came to me today, and I couldn't even answer it. And that was, you know, somebody reached out and said, Brother Love, well, how long has United States allowed what people are talking about unfair tariffs against the United States? How long has this been taking place? And then why now? I mean, I responded to the why now piece, and the why now piece is the fact that, you know, when you look up and, you know, there's the belief that there's been a lot of taking advantage of, if you would, then that's the answer to the why now. But I couldn't answer how long has this been going on.
I mean, tariffs have been around. I mean, what is it? No taxation without representation. If you look at it, I mean, tariffs or taxes and things like that have been around, you know, since nearly the inception of this country. For as long as our country has participated in trade with other countries, tariffs have been a part of that. Now, you know, Brother Pinto has asked an outstanding question, and I think that this is where a lot of people are feeling or have some fear about what these tariffs mean. And the question is, what is the impact of tariffs on the cost of goods? And obviously, if it's for goods that are coming into our country from other countries, those goods, or the price of those goods, are going to increase. So I mean, that's the natural effect of a tariff on tariffs to the price of goods. But here's the other thing too, and this is what I'm hearing. Now listen, I'm not an economist by any stretch of imagination. All right, I'm just not. Now, I'm smart enough to where if I had to put an economist on the stand, I could get up to speed and I can ask him some questions. All right, so I know that much. But the thing that my understanding is that what these tariffs are going to do is it's going to force U.S. companies to make goods in this country that we were relying on for other countries to produce for us. And so what that means is that, in theory, what it means is that it's going to strengthen the manufacturing industry here in this country. It's going to strengthen the steel industry in this country because now we're producing those goods ourselves and we're paying American workers to produce those goods.
Okay, let me ask this question then. I mean, I'm glad you laying it out that way. So let's just say products that we receive from other countries, we've been getting them at let's say a low rate, and then manufacturers or retailers are able to go ahead and put an additional cost on it, and then it goes to the consumer,
right?
And we're paying it. But you look at now we're able to produce those same products in America. What was the reason that we were buying them from another country to begin with? Because of price,
right? Because they were cheaper.
So
produce them cheaper.
Yeah. So now, based on, and I'm just asking the question because I don't know the answer, but now you see we placed a higher tax on tariffs for other countries sending their products here,
right?
And basically, the consumer has to bear the grunt of what the prices are going to be.
Right.
So now we produce them here. do you foresee that the consumers are still going to bear an additional?
I mean, listen, in theory, it's going to cost more to make products here in the U.S.
Okay.
The labor
And that's where I was trying to go.
Yeah, the labor costs are going to be high, but you know, the thing of it is that the products are going to be better also. But also, as we produce, more than likely, what's going to happen is other countries are going to want what we produce also. America has always been the leader in that respect, in a number of different categories. Now, the other concern and another issue was a national security concern, because what people were saying is that if we're relying on all of these other countries, if we're relying on China to produce semiconductors, if we're relying on this country to produce our steel, if we're relying on this country to provide us with lumber and different things like that, if we were to go to war and we had to build these products, now we are relying on enemies or other countries to sell us the goods that we need in order to provide or to produce certain certain instruments of war for ourselves. So the other thing is that now, if we're able to produce those things here in our own country, then it takes away that national security issue or concern, in theory.
Great. I mean, when you listen to the pundits, what are you hearing most?
Now, y'all know I had to jump in here.
What you got, Doc?
I want to ask this question. Where they going to build all this stuff at?
What do you mean?
Manufacturing.
When you talk about bringing it back into the country, bringing it back into America?
Right. When was the last time you seen Detroit? They're begging for business in Detroit. Pennsylvania begging for business.
It's Texas, not only that, you got to train a workforce. I don't know. I think it's more barriers to it than anything else. And it's certainly not going to be this year that this happens. It takes years to build that kind of infrastructure, unless they got some secret AI factories we don't know about.
Now remember when COVID-19 hit and we had to produce in this country ventilators and different things like that, the automobile industry actually circled around the healthcare industry to help to build those things. And remember during the Second World War, I want to say, when this country was in need of a fighting force, was in need of a place to produce war machines, this country rallied around itself to do those things. I have a lot of faith in the great United States. Now, I might call me crazy, call me a fool, but I think that we live in the greatest country in the world. And I think that if the pressure is on us, I think that we will always and consistently rise to the challenge of whatever's put in front of us. That's why, listen, I'm not that concerned about the effects of these tariffs, because guess what I'm doing? I'm buying stocks like crazy right now. Well, I'm investing, and I specifically went and I found American companies that I can invest money in right now, because if Trump is right, those companies are going to become major producers and they're going to, make me a very happy person at the end of the day. If he's wrong, guess what? 3 years from now, he's gone.
And Doc, here's my question, and this is to you as well, Greg. When we look at where we're at right now, man, the thing that I think about is what doors of opportunity will it open? So that's one of the things.
Now, I'm not saying that it's not doable, but what I'm saying is the timing. I'm saying the timing.
Hey, Doc, Pinto just had something up from Pinto, and I caught the tail end of it.
Oh yeah, about the ventilators, yeah.
Okay. Open up the global markets to make
Yeah. I mean, so yeah. But here's the thing though, Doc. I think that President Trump had to do it now, because if he tried to wait until the tail end of his administration, it probably would not have flown. I don't think he could have gotten this through if he waited to year 2 or 3 of his term. He had to wait until, he had to strike while the iron was hot.
Okay.
So that's why I think the timing of it is now.
Yeah. Well, this ain't my forte. I'm just asking questions.
Listen, it ain't mine either.
But I acquiesce to you guys because, y'all follow the markets and stuff and everything. But, I just kind of found it from my perspective. Okay, I can get that. We shouldn't have never been in this position where we had all of our ducks across the sea anyway. We should have, because all we have become is a service-based economy. Mm-hmm. Now we're paying the price for it. This is why stuff is so high, because everybody is charging based on service. I got to deliver it to you. I got to do this. And we've made positions that service that. You know, thinking about this, my neighbor was asking about putting a simple aluminum patio roof up, right? And they got to get like 4 different permits.
Doc, you and I, we on the show earlier, you saw my passion about government and government getting out of the way on these issues. And one of the things, and I was reciting this speech by Ronald Reagan when he talked about government should be the car, the people should be the driver of the car.
Okay, I can get that.
So
but we keep, but like Rod say, the government keeps getting in the way. We can't have free market when the government keeps meddling with it and not let it be true free market. The government shouldn't be propping anyone up.
And something to what you were saying, Greg, earlier. And I mean, this, you and I, we strategists too when it comes to it. But you could never have tried to do what President Trump is doing in the second to the last year or the last year of your administration, because you're called then the lame duck.
Yeah, you're gonna get it back. But now, here's the thing though, and this is kind of like a segue and takes us into the next topic. And I'm glad Brother Pinto's here. I'm glad that Brother Burns is here, because a lot of folks are not happy right now with what's taking place. And although it's only been about 100 days or just over 100 days that Trump has been in office, people are already, voicing their displeasure and their disdain with how the administration is going. And right or wrong, they have that right to do so. And more than anyone else, we're hearing that African Americans are voicing their opinions one way or the other about what's taking place. So Doc, what we want to talk about here is the art of politics. And in dealing with the art of politics, these black voices, these black votes, or whatever the case may be, do we really think that they're going to garner any leeway with what's taking place? If so, why? If not, why not? What are some of the things that we're missing as black voters that our voice may not be as strong as we wanted to be at this point?
All right, college professor with that Socratic question. Listen, I say we don't have a leg to stand on in this argument. We have no capital. If you go to the circus, they don't care if you don't go in. They want your money. They want your fee. Anywhere you go and you want to go in, we don't have any capital. We own no industries. There's no major plan of group economics that can leverage our voice. So all we are doing is begging. I think about it. Our leadership has spent the last 60 years begging and telling what people owe us, instead of saying, you know what, ain't nobody coming to save us. We'll save our damn self.
Hey, Doc, I don't disagree. Doc, listen, I don't disagree with you. Greg knows how to throw these things in here to get us all fired up. But but Doc, the guest that we had in men today, making me refer to the 6 o'clock show. The guest that we had on the 6 o'clock show, when he talked about government engagement and how government has said, we'll do everything for you. We will, come to us and we're the answer. And that's not how real life is. No. And it's not sustainable.
But you know what, Rod? I'm going to tell you. And when he was talking about that, I distinctly remember when I was a boy and we lived in the projects here in Orlando. They would come around and inspect to see if men were living in the apartments, because it was a goal back then that no men are to be in those apartments, and that disjoin the family. That, because they were, the women had the house, so to speak, low income, but they couldn't have a man living in there. If a man was there, they got put out. So what did that do? For a lot of people who were disadvantaged in those situations, getting that help to have housing was a great need, but it split their families. I knew dads that lived back home with their parents, but they were still with their wife, and the wife and the kids lived in the project. Or the people would come and the women would take the clothes and move it down to somebody else's apartment who wasn't getting inspected at that time in order to pass that inspection, and then when it was over with, put the stuff back.
Hey, Doc, this is a great conversation. This is a great conversation, and the question is why Black voters are ignored. And for those of you who are tuned in to Let's Talk Nation, we invite you to join this conversation. Just dial in at 407-921-6195.
But
what do we have to offer?
Doc, but here's the big thing, Doc, and you mentioned it, and you touched it, and then you ran away from it. The biggest
I know I ran away.
you ran away from it. The biggest issue with Black voters, in my mind, is that we don't put our money where our mouth is.
That's it.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. I didn't run away from that, and we've all said that we won't.
Let me say,
you don't understand the invest.
Yeah, you touched it, but I thought you were going to take the next step into it, and
okay.
so and maybe I should. You
Absolutely.
kind of went the other way.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing: politicians understand one thing, and they understand that the lifeblood of any campaign that helps to sustain that campaign
It's money.
and move forward is money.
Money.
And a lot of times when we as African Americans, we don't go, when we go to forums, we go there to make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
We go there to make a lot of noise. We don't go there to write checks. The politicians, they're going to those neighborhoods and to those individuals who are writing those checks. Not to say that they're paying for votes, but what they're doing is they're giving those politicians the resources that they need to get their message out.
So let me break down what you just said. Let me break down what you just said.
Hold on. You are valid. Now, what's on the flip side of that? The politicians come to our community and get the votes for what? Free.
For nothing.
But you know what? But Greg, I want to go back to where you're at on this. And you and I, we've experienced this a great deal where we have folks that say, hey, I need some help. I got a program here and I need for you to talk to representative or senator this or commissioner this. And you ask the question, what have you done? And I mean, I'm going the way you're going, Greg. What have you done to support this person when this person is looking at those other folk that are calling him that put some skin in the game?
Listen, let me tell you this, and y'all can say what y'all want to about me. Anytime I want to talk to a politician, I send a message through my good friend, Brother Love, and say, tell him I got a check for him.
Hey, and that he does. And that he does.
Listen, I'm not saying, listen, I'm paying for anything. Listen, if I'm going to support you, I have to show that I support you. And the way that I do it is you have to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
And listen,
and Doc, he does that too.
I know. You both do. You both do because
Doc, let me tell you why I understand that, and you know why I understand this, because you were there with me, walking door to door with me for some of this stuff, because I ran for public office, and I knew because I had volunteers that wanted to be paid. Yeah. I had literature that had to be paid for. I had signs that I had to get. I had social media stuff that I had to get out, and so when I'm trying to keep this campaign going and let people know about Greg, that's who I am, I gotta raise some money. Yeah. And so now I understood, because people weren't writing me checks like that. I gained a better understanding and a greater respect for the fact that I have to seed into those that I believe in.
And you know what, Greg, you hit right on the point. But here's the other thing that some people, I want to make sure people understand. Folk don't expect you to write your mortgage to them, but they want to see that you as invested in them as you want them to be invested in you.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, listen.
But at one point now, there was a period in the 70s where the grandmamas would do that. I can distinctly remember my grandmother giving money for local elections and stuff like that. It wasn't a lot, but they did it. They'd call around and say, hey, we're going to help so-and-so. I got $50. I don't say how much you got. The telephone back then was a bad piece of technology.
Yeah, but Doc, the value of the process has evolved over a period of time. When my grandmother was alive and you saw politics, really back then they wanted feet on the ground. The value of retail politics was you knocking on people's doors. As time is going on, the value of politics has gotten expensive.
Well, districts have gotten bigger.
Yeah.
There are more people in areas where people are looking to run. The way to get the message out has gotten more expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, back in the day, you could probably run a full campaign for $1,000.
Times have changed.
Now the other thing too, Doc, I think that, and I believe you'll agree with this. Brother Love may not rock with me on this too much. I think that black voters are too emotional.
Yeah.
I rock with you on that.
I rock with you on that.
I agree, but that's the legacy we have. That's the legacy. They respond to great orators. Okay. Think about the most effective leadership we have been those who could turn a phrase, if you will.
Yeah.
And get to that heart muscle more than that brain muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And that emotional thing has become a cornerstone of what we respond to in politics. We're not practical when it comes to politics. Look at the fact that a district in Orlando elected a 21 time arrested commissioner. And the more you pointed out problems, the more people don't attack her. We're talking about character.
Yeah.
Here's something I want to bring up, and I want to bring this up from the perspective, Doc, and I think I had this
have my money.
Who is that? You?
Yeah, the words of Rihanna, better have my money.
But here's something, man, that I just over the weekend I was thinking about this, man, and I think about our leaders. And Doc, when we talk about emotional voters, and come on, let's give it up. You do have individuals that will go to the ballot box and vote for another black person just because they're black.
Right.
But I was thinking about this weekend, man, and I was thinking about transformational elected leaders, man, that you could actually see the change that they've made in communities, but also economically in the business community. And you know what? I came up with three people. And don't be mad at me if you name not one of the three. Former Commissioner Mabel Butler.
Now, I remember you got in trouble. You're talking local now, because if people think you're talking statewide,
I'm talking local. I'm talking local.
Yeah.
I'm talking local.
Mm-hmm.
Former Commissioner Mabel Butler. Man, that woman, man, she was committed to her community because she actually, you could see the transformation when she got up there and fought for things. On the city side, former and God bless the dead Commissioner Daisy Liner.
Yeah.
Man, you talking about fighters.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about people who would say, hey, look, if this new airport is going to be opening up contracting, God dog it, I want to see some folk that look like me that have competency get a contract.
Yeah.
And last but not least, and I leave this person last but not least because some folk may say how he navigated, but man, I think this guy navigated like a true champ when he advocated for folk. And this is none other than the city of Orlando's first black mayor and commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Ernest Page. Man, when I say those folk, when I look at the work that they put in, you can see it changed communities. I'm still looking for that.
Yeah. But they and all three of them are people that didn't go along to get along.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, good point.
And that's it. They had the courage of their convictions standing with them. I knew all of them personally.
Man,
and
good point. He hit it on the head.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it takes. Say, no, you over here making you over in East Orlando and you just built a $2 million dog park. We need this over here in my community. Now, for all of Regina Hill's issues, she did start the process of improving and getting some things done. Okay, she did a lot for that district, more than had been done previously. But what I found out is, God bless the dead, Daisy Lynham had Alzheimer's for a very long time. We didn't know. And that was, even when she was in office, this was going on. And I found that out, unfortunately after her passing. But that answers a lot because, she was affected. When she first got in there, she was knocking down dragons and slaying everything.
Those three were gladiators. But let me jump to this. Greg and Doc, here's something that I think is really problematic for the Black community, and that is the agenda.
Yeah. I mean, and the agenda or the lack thereof, of the fact that the Black agenda is hijacked by other groups from time to time, and we're so ready to jump on other people's issues who aren't as ready to jump on our issues and help our issues. But
when the last time have we heard a solid Black politician with a slate?
There's some out there. There's some out there, but we haven't heard. So let me tell you this. Let's segue this way, Doctor. You'll probably appreciate this. Now we're not going to mention any names because we want to protect the identity of the innocent. We want to say it that way. But Brother Love and I had a nice sit down conversation with a very influential member of the community and a African American politician who we believe have a slate.
Yeah.
And that conversation, which lasted over 3 hours, Brother Love.
Yeah.
Well over 3 hours for a couple of weeks.
Well, the last time I had a conversation with the innocent, they told me they quietly getting stuff done. So,
but listen, let me say this: that meeting yesterday, that 3+ hour meeting on yesterday, I think is going to be the catalyst, Doc, and I think that you're going to appreciate if we're able to pull together what we're hoping to pull together for this community. And I'm not going to say the community, Black community, but I'm saying this community, Central Florida community, as a whole.
Yeah.
If this comes together with pulling together the individuals who will come to the table without their own agenda, but for the betterment of the community, we're going to see what you always talk about. Where is our slate? Where's our agenda? Because that was the catalyst of that conversation on yesterday, and being able to put differences aside and understanding that you don't always have to be the biggest voice in the room, and we don't always have to agree personally. We have to agree communally. And if this comes together like it should, Doc, we're going to see some transformational things happening in this community in rather short order.
And Doc, let me tell you, Doc, I was humbled by what took place yesterday during that late lunch. But something else that I'm gonna tell you that I don't know, Greg, if I can say I was amazed at the straight talk that took place that led to putting differences aside. I mean, I was soft shoeing it.
Yeah.
I was soft shoeing it, and one of the individuals just shot from the hip. And
I cut to the chase. You say, look, what we talking about here? It wasn't no fluff. No,
yeah.
Listen, let's talk. Let's have a real conversation here. And it was a real conversation.
But that's what's needed. See, we have been conditioned to believe that we got a kumbaya and all come together in one mind. And that is the silliest and most poisonous thing that we can embrace in our community. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with me. Right. What we got to agree with, what are our problems? And here's my plan to approach it from my perspective. What's your plan to approach it from your perspective? And make sure that we coordinate it. Now, would you, if 1,000 bees came in there right now, what's going to happen? Are you going to win or the bees going to win?
Oh, with 1,000 bees, those bees going to win.
Yeah.
You know why? because they ain't
They're
fighting
working
together.
together.
They ain't
Yeah.
waiting to get together. They
That's
all
right.
stinging you everywhere.
But those two individuals from yesterday, Greg, have the ability, and I mean, I think, like you said, it's going to be the catalyst. But man, the ability to really help transform Central Florida, and I'm just, I'm excited about it, man.
I mean, because the conversation wasn't, oh, I can do this, I can do that. The conversation was, who else can come and do these things that we can rely on to do these things. Listen, we got to talk because I don't want to give up too much.
Yeah.
I just want Let's Talk Nation to know that what we do is instrumental and has always been instrumental. And I got
it. Hey, you ain't got that much.
That's no thousand bees, Hey, but listen though, but I'm telling you, man, it was a refreshing conversation, but an outstanding meeting, man. Outstanding meeting.
Yeah. Well, y'all always have that effect on people. Cause y'all done stop me from. I'm not the old doc I used to be, hanging around with y'all. That fire don't come out. I mean,
I will say this, and because we got to cover some other things, but I will say this: as a result of what took place yesterday, I got engaged and say, will you and Brother Jackson help have a conversation with another individual? And I was like, it just, they didn't realize it, but that blew me away that they were confident enough to trust that maybe we can broker a sit down in a conversation.
Yeah.
So,
and hey, you know why? And I'm going to shut up. Because see, when people can see who you are and trust who you are, they trust what you do. Y'all exemplify that. See, y'all don't go around backstabbing people and all this kind of stuff that goes on a lot of times in community leadership. Y'all are straight shooters.
Yeah,
so people know that they can come to you.
You know me, because if I'm a jig them face front.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm doing it. Listen, and that's what I told them to be. I said, listen, y'all know me. Y'all know me. Y'all know how I am. That's my strength, and that's the benefit that I bring to virtually any group. That I'm that person where I'm just like, look, I'm like Billy the Kid. I'm the wild kid on the block. But it's tame, and sometimes that's needed to get certain points across. But listen, I'm this dude right here. So
yeah.
Hey, but you know what? Hey, let's talk about some Central Florida politics.
Oh, you're gonna like this, Doc. Oh, you're gonna like this.
Hey, Orlando Mayor's race.
So listen, Doc, we got some races coming up, and this is part of the conversation on yesterday and why we need to start bringing this full circle. Yeah. Because there's some things that's happening in this community that's going to effectuate what happens in Central Florida for the next 50 years based on what we're seeing right now. So this Orlando Mayor's race, Doc, you heard who has already declared for this race, right?
Some of them.
Anna Eskamani is one of them, and probably one of the bigger voices.
Ortiz, is he in?
Not yet, but it's all speculated that he's going to get in there as well. But from everything that I'm hearing, Anna Eskamani is probably the person to beat. Now, this is what I think, y'all. This is what I think. And don't put it on nobody, put it on me. I personally would love to see Val Demings run for that seat. Personally, I think that Val Demings would be an outstanding mayor for the city of Orlando, given her connection to her background. Although she's not from Orlando, this is her community, and that she has represented to the highest level. And I think that if Val Demings were to put it into her mind that she wants to be the mayor of Orlando, that this could be her city. Well, I shouldn't say her city. Let me take this step back. Let me say this could be a city that she could represent well.
So Greg, with that, we know Representative Eskamani has already announced. I haven't heard anybody else name associated with running for the city of Orlando, and I think it's right. It's only just for us to put things in perspective. You're looking at a municipality that's maybe close to $3 billion revenue stream now.
The city is that?
Yeah.
What's the county?
County's closer to $8 billion.
What did that have?
So when I was there, it was $6+ billion. And look at
Why I thought it was still in the 3 or 4 big.
what Orange County.
Yeah.
Orange County is the 5th largest municipality in the state of Florida.
Wow. All right, listen. Okay.
So that's part of what a CEO would run between those two municipalities. But the other thing that, and Greg, I hate to mix this with that, but right now, Orange County, because of the last vote, is going to be expanding the 6 commission districts by 2. So now you have 8 commission districts, and they're redrafting those population districts now. And here's something that is really critically important. If you're not paying attention, and I'm looking at a couple of districts. I'm looking at District 6. I'm looking at District 2. And if you're not paying attention, you could have compacted districts in areas of poverty in those districts. But you know something about poverty, and I hate to say it like this, but the numbers are bear out itself. What doesn't happen in high communities of poverty when it comes to elections?
Doc, I'm gonna let you handle this. I'm gonna let you handle what don't they do in low income circumstances when it comes around town for elections?
Vote.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I'm really, and see, normally, and Greg, this is how we take people to school. Normally, when people see those districts drawn, they don't think about looking at the GIS mapping and look at how compacted or communities of poverty.
Listen,
But why?
go ahead, Doc.
Why is it? Why is it that those people don't vote?
They don't trust politics. They don't trust politicians or the political system.
Well,
I mean, it's like what you've been saying. For how many years have people been told that if you vote for this person, your life is going to change, and then they wake up 10 years later and they're still in the same circumstance and condition that they've been in?
well, see, that's because the people lying to them.
Yeah.
But here's another factor. But here's another factor I do want to throw out. Another factor is the lack of knowledge and education. And something I'm going to say that I think was going a long way, and it's something that a good friend of ours did, and that was former supervisor of election, Glenn Gelzine, when he instituted for not-for-profits to actually go out year-round, not just when an election is taking place. When an election takes place, and we've been the biggest critics of it, where people show up 60 days before an election. Well, this process would have educated people year-round.
We talk about get out the vote 90 days before an election.
Yeah,
and we need to be talking about develop the power.
Yeah.
We need to be teaching this year round.
Hey man, I'm screwing up this segment because I gotta hit y'all with rapid fire because there's some powerful stuff on here. So Orange County mayor's race. I'm sorry.
All right, Don. Who do you think is a standout in Orange County that maybe running that has already announced?
I think I've announced probably Anna Escamani.
Man, that's Orlando.
That's the city.
Orange County.
Oh, you say Orange County?
Yeah.
Ooh. Who all is announced?
Greg, help him out.
Hey, let me throw this name out at you. And give me your thoughts. First impressions. You ready? Tiffany Moore Russell.
It's called rapid fire, Doc.
Okay. Yeah, she's good. She's good. No, I don't do nothing.
You say she's good. Greg, keep going.
Scott Boyd.
Hey, you're messing up rapid fire, man. We only have 4 minutes, Doc.
Bro, you ain't got to turn the camera off.
Okay.
We ain't got
he can't get right.
Okay. All right, great.
Hey, Scott Boyd.
No. Yeah.
He's a former commissioner. Okay, that's his response. Who else, Greg?
Here's one. Commissioner Rebate.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna take that response.
I can see that. Out of her and Tiffany Moore, I think we would be in good hands.
Okay. Let me throw a curveball at you. Stephanie Murphy, former Congresswoman.
No.
Republican.
Okay, that's your response.
Who else they got?
You also have former Commissioner Bonilla. And then you also have former Congresswoman Val Demings, who was on the front page of that piece too. It was 7 individuals, and Greg, I think you, Tiffany Moore Russell, former Congresswoman Val Demings, Commissioner Uribe, Stephanie Murphy, Scott Boyd. The one we forget.
Oh, Rick Singh. Rick Singh.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Doc, don't even respond. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, he a wild card now.
Hey, Apopka City Mayor's race, which is fresh.
Yeah, listen, we just an announcement came out today, Dr. Light, that Christine Moore, current Orange County District 2 Commissioner, has filed to run for mayor of Apopka.
That's his response.
Yeah, that's my response.
Now listen. Let me say this. Because my good friend, the late Fred Brummer, told me this. After he told me to call him Uncle Fred, and I told him never happened. Fred Brummer told me, he said one of the best campaigners and one of the best politicians for messaging is Christine Moore. And I will tell you, if you've been watching Christine Moore for the past 12 months, all she's been doing
setting it up
is messaging for Apopka mayor. That's all she's been doing. And so when I saw the message today, I was not surprised. Now, I don't know. Well, let me say
is that seat now term limited?
There is no term limit on that.
Well, I'm gonna stick with the friend of the show.
Now listen, that is conventional wisdom. But in sticking, we also got to make sure we understand the task that's ahead.
Exactly.
Because understanding the task that's ahead.
I get that, but y'all live in Apopka. I ain't got no dog in that fight, but I do love Apopka.
Mm-hmm.
All Greg is saying is you gotta go into races and you gotta fight for your life.
Well, it's growing, and one of the things is, I see. One of the things is who's going to manage that growth well.
Yeah, that's the big question. I mean, someone who's been doing it,
and that's it. Is it going to be open the vault? Is it going to be open the vault to developers, or are we going to manage the growth? And then be fair. So it's some stink still in Apopka politics. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Somebody had to go somewhere else to become the chief when by all rights and commitments from them, it should have been their time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there was nobody else more qualified in that department.
You're talking about the police department, right?
Yeah.
I got you.
And there's more to that story, but you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We have some other items that Greg, I think we're gonna save for next week. That
listen, the one that we really need to be talking about.
I know which one you're going.
We could do some overtime.
No, we can't. Greg, go ahead and tell them real quick about. It's gonna be.
Listen, the rate, and we got to put this one at the top next week. I said we're gonna do it, but the one that we're gonna have to really dig into is the Florida Senate Senate District 15 seat.
Yes,
we got to talk about that one.
Hey, so we're gonna.
Is that the one with the brother and the sister?
That is it.
Making national news.
Did you know that? I guess some people down there with a newspaper listen to us, because the next day, guess what was in the paper?
Of course, I know.
Man, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I tell you what, we've had a great time, and Brother Jackson, I guess, man, when we come back next week, we're gonna put these at the top of our list, man. Great. You do not have to go home.
No, y'all ain't got to go home
until next week. Tune in to Let's Talk Nation, because we got places to be and places to go.
Y'all can leave. Not gonna go ahead and do some overtime and talk to the people.
Well, you do your overtime. Hey, y'all, tune in next week to Let's Talk Nation. We look forward to seeing you. Hey, Pinto, we appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, man.
Y'all have a good one.